What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the ZayMoolaSportsPodcast. I'm your host, Zay, and we had a massive trade happen in the NBA as the LA Clippers traded 7-time All Star Kawhi Leonard to the Toronto Raptors in exchange for Brandon Ingram, Gradey Dick, 2 unprotected first-round picks, 1 first-round pick swap, and 2 second-round picks. And the Claw is back in Toronto. And I don't think anyone is surprised by this trade because a couple of days ago, Shams Charania reported that the Raptors were aggressively pursuing Kawhi. But at that point, it seemed as if the Clippers were unwilling to trade him. But give credit to the Raptors. They presented a great trade package to the Clippers. And the Clippers were not able to refuse that deal. And now, y'all, again, Kawhi Leonard is back in Toronto, back in the 6th. And I like this trade for both teams, but I want to start with what this trade means for the Clippers because this marks the end of an era for the Clippers. I don't think anyone thought that it would end in this fashion, y'all, because when Paul George and Kawhi Leonard signed with the Clippers on July 6th of 2019, a day I'll never forget, y'all, because when they signed with the Clippers, everyone was super excited. I'll never forget Patrick Beverley was saying that the Warriors dynasty was over. You know, people were saying that LeBron and the Lakers were not going to win the championship because, you know, the Clippers had just acquired 2 of the best two-way players in the NBA in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And because of that, y'all, they were expected to be championship contenders for years to come. But then their first year, you know, they lose in the semifinals to the Denver Nuggets, blowing the 3-1 lead. But then the next year they go to the conference finals, but unfortunately Kawhi gets injured. And I think, y'all, that's really the biggest takeaway from the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George era with the Clippers is that they were just derailed by injuries. It seems like every time they were gaining momentum, every time they were playing well, then Kawhi would get hurt, and then Paul George would get hurt, and this is what absolute derail their season. And I think what really makes this era a failure is the fact that they gave up, you know, so many draft picks to acquire Paul George, y'all, and those picks became really good players like Jalen Williams and Cason Wallace, and then they gave up a future 2-time MVP of our league and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, y'all. So because the Clippers were so eager to acquire Paul George to please Kawhi, they allowed the Thunder to become a dynasty. And so think about that, y'all. If the Clippers never acquired Paul George, then the Thunder would not be the dominant team that they are today. So this era, y'all, was definitely a failure. I mean, they had some great moments. You know, they made playoff appearances. They won some playoff series, y'all. But again, when Kawhi Leonard and Paul George signed with the Clippers in 2019, they were expected to compete for championships for years to come. And they never even reached the NBA Finals, y'all, let alone win it. So, you know, this era is over. And like I said, I'm sure no one would have expected that would have ended in this fashion, y'all, because I think a lot of people thought that the Clippers would win at least one championship. And you got to think, you know, a couple years ago they added James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and then a few years ago they added guys like Norman Powell and John Wall and Marcus Morris. So they consistently added a lot of talent around Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They had different variations of this team, y'all, but no matter what, they were unable to reach that ultimate goal, y'all, which was winning a championship. And so the Kawhi Leonard era, y'all, in LA is officially over. But for the Clippers, the reason I love this trade for them is because it allows them to finally move on and embrace their future, y'all. And they kind of did this a couple of years ago when they allowed Paul George to leave free agency and sign with the Sixers. And then they did it during this season as well by trading Ivica Zubac and James Harden. So with, you know, again, allowing Paul George to walk and then trading away Ivica Zubac and James Harden, I think we saw the writing on the wall that the Clippers were ready to usher in a new era of basketball in LA, but they were still holding on to Kawhi, y'all, which, you know, really wasn't allowing them to just fully embrace a rebuild. But now they can do that. They can build this team around Darius Garland, and Keaton Wagner, who they drafted last week with the 5th pick in the draft. And then getting Brandon Ingram, a guy that's a 20-point per game scorer, All Star Kawhi player. Gradey Dick is a young ascending player in our league. And then getting 2 unprotected first-round picks. Now, those picks are probably not going to be that valuable because I'm expecting the Raptors to be one of the best teams in the NBA. But, you know, you'll still take y'all first-round picks with your first-round picks. Then getting a first-round pick swap and a couple of second-round picks as well. So, I think this is a great trade for the Clippers, y'all, because it allows them to finally shut the door on the Kawhi Leonard and Paul George era and embrace the new era of Clippers basketball. So I like this trade for them. But y'all, for the Raptors, I absolutely love this trade for them because when he's healthy, which he has been the past couple of years, Kawhi Leonard is arguably the best two-way player in the NBA. You're talking about a guy, y'all, that's a 25 to 30 point per game scorer that is uber efficient, great mid-range shooter, elite three-point shooter, still one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. And you add him to a team, y'all, that has Scotty Barnes, who's one of the top two-way forwards in the league, and then you have Emmanuel Quickly, who's a really good point guard. You got RJ Barrett. We know he's a 20 point per game scorer, really great slash from defender. Then, y'all, you got a young guy in Colin Murray-Bowles, who I believe is going to be a defensive player of the year candidate this upcoming season because he is arguably one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA. And that's what I really love about this Raptors team now, y'all, because now when you look at the defenders that they have with RJ Barrett, Kawhi Leonard, Scotty Barnes, and Colin Murray-Bowles, they have so much versatility, athleticism, and length. They're going to be able to, guard multiple positions, really play a lot of switch-heavy defense. So I absolutely love this for them, y'all. And what did the Raptors struggle with last season? It was half-court scoring. I believe if they had better half-court scoring, they would have defeated the Cavs, in the first round this past season because they took them to 7 games. That was them not having a lot of shot creating and shooting on their team. But now, y'all, you add an elite shooter, an elite shot creator, an elite two-way player in Kawhi Leonard to this team. I absolutely believe that the Raptors are going to be championship contenders. I think, y'all, that right now they're the third best team in the East. I would have the Knicks, Pistons, and then the Raptors in third place, y'all, because I'm still concerned about their center spot with Jakob Poeltl. But if they're able to acquire, a better center, then I believe they become a better team than the Pistons. I mean, I'm very bullish on this Raptors team. Absolutely love this for them, y'all. And now Kawhi can end his career, y'all, where he had the best year of his career in the 18-19 season with the Raptors. So I love that for them. That was, I think, again, the best year of his career, leading them to the championship, which was their first championship in team history, then winning finals MVP. I mean, Kawhi was absolutely spectacular during the 18-19 season. Now, y'all, he gets to end his career with the Toronto Raptors, and I think they're going to be an elite team. Is there any risk involved with this? I don't think so, y'all, because we know Kawhi is injury prone, but they don't even play all 82 games. If he can play, maybe 50 to 60 regular season games, the biggest thing is, y'all, you want Kawhi Leonard to be healthy for the playoffs, which I think he will be. And if that happens, y'all, I'm telling you, this Raptors team is going to be incredibly dangerous. If they can go out and acquire a better center than Jakob Poeltl, I believe they're going to be the second best team in the Eastern Conference, y'all. And I would not believe at the end of the season if the Toronto Raptors are representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals, because they definitely have the talent to do so. So there, man, this was me giving my thoughts on the LA Clippers trading 7-time All Star Kawhi Leonard to the Toronto Raptors and why I like this trade for the Clippers, but I absolutely love this trade for the Toronto Raptors. Remember, y'all, Raptors good medicine, so what? Make sure you get your daily dose. I'm an man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.